How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Misty Meta Mastermind. This is Side Income Dad, and I am joined by Channel and Migs. So say what's up, guys.
Hey, how you doing, you guys? Hope you guys all had a great week. We sure did, and we're excited for this upcoming week.
What's up, everyone? Mix here. Another week, another dollar. Let's get it.
Let's get it for sure, man. Cool. So obviously this week is the week of CONY. So that's what we have right up here. They did really good. You know, that they made income per share of $1.35. That is a really big win. They lost on their weeklies because the synthetic did so well. I mean, the price went up quite a bit. It was just a
Sure did.
huge win. And because of that, like we got this estimate of 67 cents per share, and that's what we think they're going to pay.
What was last payout?
It
Like
was
70,
plating.
no, for Coney.
No, for Coney.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
like
cool, cool.
72,
Let's take
72,
a look.
73.
74.
74.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, we were at 74, guys. Not bad, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be something around that 8%-ish area. Is again my prediction based on the math. But who knows, right? Imagine if they actually go through and pay all that. I think that's a bit much. They'd probably not do well.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's
Wait,
good
does that
stuff.
say? Hey, hold on. Like last payout they did 178 mil realized gains?
Well, unfortunately, this is one of those things where I didn't
Oh,
start
okay, okay.
capturing until like
Yeah,
May something, so
yeah.
we don't have the full thing.
All right. Because I was gonna say if they gave out 74 with 178 mil, maybe they
Yeah.
give out a little more, you know?
Right, right. I mean, ultimately the price is pretty close, right? That $9, it's pretty much there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get that same 74 payout.
I'll be
Yeah.
happy with another 8% yield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, that's good for me. I'm happy with that. Now, on that note, last week it was Plady who paid, and for those of you out there that may not know, and I didn't know this, but Mix told me they actually don't pay out till tomorrow. So
Yep.
Saturday rolled around, and I looked at my account, and I was like, "What happened? I didn't get paid. Like, this is a scam. What's going on?"
Aboard, aboard.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, everyone, it was a false alarm. We get paid tomorrow. So cheers to all of you for, whoever's in the Plady fund with us.
Yeah, let's get that money.
That was because the Thursday holiday, right?
Yeah, Juneteenth,
Yes,
something like that.
sir.
Just stupid.
Yep, yep.
How dare they close the market in the middle of the week? What's
It's
wrong with them?
ridiculous, bro. It's completely unacceptable.
Jeez.
Don't they know we're trying to retire?
Right? Like, how am I supposed to retire quickly with all these interruptions, really?
It's bad
That's
enough
another.
weekends are
That's
closed, man.
What was that?
That is bad enough the weekends are closed.
Yeah.
Jeez.
not for Bitcoin.
I know.
Hey, that's what we got to do. I mean, I guess on that point for the Coney, we do see that the every time synthetic goes up quite a lot, we make a lot of money from the synthetic. We make pretty big payments. So I think us talking about 67 cents is actually pretty conservative. But we'll see. Again, just like last time when we were talking about Tesla, I don't actually know if they're in a like realized gain deficit, right? Like I don't know if they're at losses or gains. And so, yes, they made tons of money, but does that mean that they're going to keep some of it because they want to balance out the year or not? I don't really know. So we'll find out. That's why I stuck to the conservative estimate of 67 cents.
that's not bad.
Hmm.
Yep, yep.
Do we know what the yield is on that 67%?
That 67% would be the average, and so I guess it would be 751.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
That's close to the 8%.
it is. And again, I'm still hoping for 8, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'd rather see like a 7 in front of the, like a 70, 70 something.
Yes, yes. I mean, 8% is such a great target because 8% means you get whatever money you invested, you get it back in a year.
Yeah,
And so, like, if a fund is producing 8%, like that's a win.
I'll take that.
Yeah. And then, of course, the week after that, it's the GOAT. It's Misty. Always
What
happy
again?
for
Already?
Misty.
Damn,
right?
another big payout.
I love
Damn.
these weekly payouts because it just feels like the pay just comes sooner.
Yeah, once a month is too long. I mean, what a regular paycheck is every 2 weeks. Even that feels long, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, then going to a month, like
yeah,
what? What is this?
for sure. So I think we're all on board with weekly getting you something once a week.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It kind of like changes your mood. Like you see money coming in, you're like, yes, I'm ready for the week.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, especially when you're addicted to investing.
Buying the dips.
It's like, oh, what? There's money to spare? Yes, let's buy something else.
Like on that note, we should probably, like look into that dip on Misty right now.
Yeah, I mean, this coming week, Misty's going on sale, guys. We gotta dip in and get it.
You
Yeah, probably
guys,
a good
you
good
guys
opportunity.
anticipate a big one? You guys anticipate a big dip
I think
tomorrow?
so. I mean, with Bitcoin dropping,
Well,
MSDR being kind of stagnant, and just the news of, the whole Iran bombing. I
yeah,
think all of that put together I think it might dip Misty into like, I don't know, I would say the 19.
I
I,
don't
I
know.
could see it going to like low 20s, like lower 20s.
Yeah,
Yeah, because lately when it's been like dropping, it doesn't drop that much, but like it always hovers around 20s, mid 20s.
gotcha. We'll see. We'll see what we get. And actually, on that note, something I really wanted to point out, we'll switch over here to Misty so we can look into it. It's the holdings. Like, I don't know if I've ever really dove into the holdings. But I just wanted everyone to understand that like these three puts are their synthetic hold, accompanied by this, this, and that. So if you look at those numbers together, it comes out to close to 15% of their holdings. And so I wanted to bring this up because people talk about like NAV erosion a lot.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I think this is a huge point. It's only about 85% of the entire fund's money that actually sits as holding the synthetic. And then you run covered calls on that percentage. So like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it outside of that, right? Like you're only playing, so to speak, with
Like
15% of the money.
Mhm.
Like
yeah, of the
everything else is
risk.
in all these treasuries. Like your money's pretty safe.
Mhm.
And so when people talk about NAV erosion, being afraid that it's going to deteriorate, like how can it deteriorate when your money's not even in play? Like it's
Mhm.
actually
Yeah.
stored somewhere else. And when you partner this with what I talked about last week with that the way that they do covered calls and make income,
Hmm.
like when you put both of those things together, like they're being extremely efficient with these funds. They're truly doing their best to give us, great access to income with minimal amount of risk.
Yeah,
That
like they
that's
really have.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
think they really have their numbers set up right. Where like, okay, at this number I'm gonna go in. I'm this number I'm gonna go out, and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean even everything that they do, I think it's just done so well. Like someone came up with the question the other day, and I'm gonna jump over to the covered calls tab really quick. But the question was like, for example, here, if you were to sell that call, on the Thursday and its expiration is Friday, but then it didn't hit that 385 strike price,
Mhm.
like why not let it expire on that Friday? And that way you don't have to pay these $100,
Mhm.
right? Which I think is a really good question. But the reality is if we know that we can close it early and not pay very much money, we can open up the new call on that day, right? This one for next Friday. And that means you get to take advantage of the weekend. And so like the time value on these option calls is also valuable. Like every day they call it data decay, right? So every day that goes by that the call is still in play, it costs less and less money to close it. So you're making more money. You
Yeah.
got a better premium because you got it farther out, and then you're you're using basically Saturday, Sunday, which is cheating because there's no trading, right? And so it's actually really smart to go ahead and close it and just roll it into next week. So I just wanted
Yeah,
to answer that question because I thought it was a really good question.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, going back. Yeah, did you guys have any thoughts on any of this stuff? Like what's been going on? What is you guys' predictions for this coming week? Like we just talked about how we think Misty will go down. You think that's true for the whole market or like
Yeah, I think it's for the whole market. There's gonna be like a opportunity to buy in, buy the dip.
I have a
nice?
feeling it's going to be pretty rapid. I think it's like I mean, BTC is already recovering. It's already back up over to like almost 102. So I don't know. We may wake up tomorrow and it's 103, 104.
Like no impact to the market.
It might not be. I mean,
As it should be.
it's, for the market being closed, sometimes I feel like it's a benefit too, right? Over the weekend to, with world events, you get a
Yeah,
couple of days where everything kind of cool down. No, market can't trade, obviously. So maybe it's a kind of like a little bit of blessing in sky that it's closed for those, over the weekend to let, the
to
market kind of
avoid,
digest
a,
everything and not overreact. And then maybe we open
yeah,
money.
panic.
Yeah.
Dang. So what
I
you're
feel like
saying
if
is,
the market was open, during, with that recent news, I think it would have been a huge dip. But I have a feeling maybe tomorrow is going to open up. Not. I want to say it's going to be red, but it's not going to be like, bloodshed red or something.
gotcha.
Maybe
Nick's
like
thoughts?
1 or 2%.
Yeah, I could see the same thing.
Okay, okay. So now I got a more interesting question, I would say. Do you think that the attacks were planned in that way so that the American people didn't lose money in the stock market? Like, do you think that that
No.
was brought into play? Like, you know what, we should do it on a weekend. That way the shock doesn't affect the stock market.
I don't think so because
Highly doubted.
yeah, this is way too critical of
It's
time.
a higher agenda that they have.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
This is not like, I don't know, like firing of the Fed or something. I'm going to fire the Fed, so I'm going to try to. This is like something based on intel. So probably like, this is our window right now. We got to go, Mr. President. No.
So what you're saying, this was all Palantir. Palantir was like, we gathered the data, the AI says strike
Yeah,
now, pull the trigger.
yeah, yeah.
No, they were saying like, hey, we need the numbers for the next payout. Let's do some.
We need Palantir to close out some of these contracts.
Right? Oh
Okay,
man.
okay. By the way, none of this is financial advice, guys. We're just talking about
It's
our
just
journey into, you
Nah,
this is
know,
entertainment only, guys.
got to make sure we, do the housekeeping around here.
but yeah, I mean, well, we'll see tomorrow, but definitely. So we're all on boat to snag up something if it dips tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Misty. I'm gonna add Misty. I can't like not add it at $20. Like
So
Yeah,
at what range would you say I'm
under 21
under 21? You'll go.
for
What
sure.
at what
Yeah,
range would you say you will go heavy? Let's just say.
if it dropped under 20, like if it went to like $19,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd get like 1,000 shares.
yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Like without hesitation too. I'd be like, oh, yep, buy now.
Now, let's say between the four funds, I mean, one is let's just say a lot more than the other. Let's just say CONY is going to be, 5%, and then everything else is just maybe 2%. Would you get any CONY, or would you strictly just stay with Misty?
I mean,
Misty.
that's a really good question. I think due to the situation we're in, I would get Misty. Only because I believe that MSTR price has been too stagnant.
Yeah,
Whether it's being suppressed or not, I wouldn't know. But it's been stagnant. BTC hit an all-time high. Supposedly, like, they've added 10,000 Bitcoin to their sheet. Like too many things have happened in the MSTR world. They released a stride. Like all these things have happened, and we have not seen the MSTR price reflect that.
yeah.
And so I think
But
they're ready for a pop. And so even if Misty gave like a poor payout this time around, to me, it's just a great buying opportunity because the future is going to make up for that low payment.
yeah, especially with like June 30th coming up, like end of the quarter, Q2.
Yes.
And if they they get a profit on Q2 and they qualify for the S&P 500, people are gonna start, buying in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Above 97,000 PTC? That's
It
the goal.
it changed because the more Bitcoin they buy,
Yeah.
the higher their earning is basically. But last I heard was like 95K,
Okay.
above 95K.
So you think you're saying that that was changed because they bought that 10,000 Bitcoin?
Yeah, it could be.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. See, Miggs is our
Yeah.
local researcher, by the way. Um,
Yeah, because if they go above 95K for Bitcoins, I think they will make about 1 billion profit. But if it stays like at 105K, they come up with like 7 billion.
wow, it's
That's a
Yeah,
insane.
big
big
What?
difference. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty crazy. I just wanted to point out that us getting back to that $24 price gets us back into $2 range payouts, which I think
Mhm.
is extremely doable if MSDR gets above the 400s. We
Yeah,
start seeing MSDR at that 420 mark, then all of a sudden this number becomes very realistic and these payouts become very realistic.
I like it.
Yeah. Say MSCR, I mean, there's a lot of news out there or a lot of analysts and YouTubers saying when MSCR pops this time, it's like easily by the end of the year, it's going to be like double, even triple, right? I see 900.
Yeah, I see 900, 1200.
It just, you know, what do you guys think? What would Missy be at? Let's just say at 900.
I think it
Uh,
depends. If we get like a God candle, as people
let's
refer
see.
to it,
Mhm.
right, where that happens overnight,
Yeah,
then
then
unfortunately I think we'll be hurt pretty badly,
yeah.
and we won't be able to keep up well. But
Mhm.
if it's like, I don't know, if a reasonable increment, like over the week it's picking up $50, I think that we can keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Missy's just been kind of, well, I mean, MSCR's just been pretty consolidating. So I feel like when it does run, it might, yeah, it's a little scary. Hopefully it doesn't take that huge slingshot up 8
Hopefully.
day or 10% be oh man.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at the holdings again, what is it? What's the cheapest one they're holding? This, I guess, the
387.
387.
Yeah.
So the moment the price starts going above 387, we start getting capped. And let's see, based on the bulk of what they hold here, they're kind of prepping actually for it to go up to 390 because this is where most of their contracts are.
Mhm.
So, from what I see here, I mean, obviously we don't want to lose these, but if it does go over, I guess maybe 390, even below 395, like it's okay for these to get capped
Mhm.
because the bulk is here. So we'd still make quite a lot of money. And they're prepped for that. So I think that's kind of cool. Since CONY's the one that's coming up and paying us this week, let's take a moment to chat about CONY and our goals with this. So personally for me, if anything, I'm buying Misty this month, and then I'm probably not buying anything else for the rest of the year. I'll
Uh-huh.
be saving up to pay back taxes and just kind of, I am using a little bit of margin. So maybe pay back some margin, save up for taxes, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So outside of a potentially large Misty buy, I don't really have anything else that I'm going to be adding for the year. How about you guys?
I have a little bit more Misty that I want to get. No, I mean, I want to get a little bit more Coney, but I'm for sure going on Misty first and then Coney. And then after that is just holding on because the other two that I have are okay. I'll eventually like go in when there's like a reasonable dip.
Okay, that's cool.
How about
About,
you, Chan?
um, I would like to add, all four a little bit more, but I have a certain number in mind where if I hit that, a certain amount wise, not money wise, amount wise, where I'm willing to spend to kind of distribute between the all four of them. But that I feel like for me, I mean, back to what I asked earlier, if one dips more than the other, I'll probably buy a little bit more heavier based on whichever fund is lower. Let's just say if Coney came down like 5, 6% and Misty and Tesla and Platy or maybe 1 or 2%, then I like to go where I can get the most bang out of my buck, right? So that's where I'll probably buy a little bit heavier on whichever fund that's taking the more hit. I still believe in all fours, but I just really want to get into whatever that has the biggest dip. Maybe allocating, a higher percent, maybe about instead of 50/50, maybe like 65, and then the rest kind of break it between that. But that's kind of my game plan for the till the end of the year. So gotta start putting aside some of that Uncle Sam money. Not looking forward to it.
That's right. So let me ask you on that. I know you kind of said that it's an amount and it's based on essentially which one is a better deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you do you have a goal in terms of shares amount of shares that you want to hold, or do you have a goal in terms of how much money you want them to produce?
Um, so right now I guess both, right? I had a goal by the end of the year to, accumulate a certain amount of income, but it looks like that's not going to work out just based on my situation where I jumped in at and not giving considering the fact that when I jumped into all these funds, I had to sell a lot of shares, and those obviously I'm gonna owe taxes on that. So I need a large portion of that. And then if I'm gonna jump in even more, uh, with just half the year left, it's with the math I did, it's just not going to be enough to cover all the taxes. And I really just want to at least cover all the taxes and maybe have, a little bit on the side just in case, right? If I overshoot or undershoot my taxes or something. But yeah, so I have a certain amount in mind, which, want to spend maybe roughly another 20K or something into these funds. And also my goal is, to by the end of the year is just to get a certain amount, but that's not gonna be valid by the end of this year. So hopefully next year. But yeah, it's kind of my plan.
Okay.
Not
How
a
how
bad
about you,
plan.
Mig? Same question. Like, do you aim to get a certain number of shares, or do you aim to get a certain number of like average dividend?
So first, I wanted to get a certain amount of shares, right? And I feel like I'm almost there, where like now I can start kind of playing with the numbers. Where like, okay, this is how much income I want to be receiving a month. And
Okay.
then based on that, I'm gonna start playing with how much I want to increase my positions and then buying the dips. And if I do buy the dips, it's gonna be based on like which one is giving me gives the better like yield per share
Got it. Got it. So Misty.
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Um, I guess it's fun and interesting to hear you guys kind of respond to that. I would say for me, it's definitely been driven by the dividend amount. I guess I'll just buy whatever amount of shares I need to get to a certain dividend average. And I know that that's not something that we can predict, but we can kind of get a ballpark using averages. And so that's been kind of my gameplay as I've been buying. So
And do you
it's,
have that amount, like a set amount?
yeah, so my first goal was to get to the point where all these mini funds were paying me $1,000 a month minimum. And I guess I'm there. Obviously Misty was the first goal and that was a crazier goal. So that's there. But because I hit that first goal for next year, my goal will be to get each one of those funds to pay $2,000 a month. But that's a different year and I don't know, like a lot of stuff can change from here to then. So I don't know. I guess since I hit that first goal at this point, I'm just like excited to sit back and just collect for a little bit as I see how the market plays out the next few months and then kind of plan for what's the best move moving forward after that.
That's true.
You guys believe the market right now is still relatively pretty low for
Yes.
all the funds? I mean, looking at the chart, right, everything mostly has come down except for like Platy. Platy seems pretty stable
They,
up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that we're still in a great time to buy. That's just my opinion, but because once the Feds actually start printing money,
Mhm.
I think that's going to cause like the stock market to just go up. I mean, it's what we've seen, right?
Yeah.
Every time we like through COVID and all that stuff, the stock market kind of did amazing. It had that huge pullback, and then it did really well after that. And it's because we were printing money like crazy. So I just expect things to kind of happen the same way.
And
And
then we'll see Monday, I guess.
yeah. Any ideas when that money printer is gonna come on? What's your guys' guess?
I
Next
don't
month.
know. I don't remember like correctly, but like I heard somewhere around the end of the year.
Okay.
I think we'll have to see unemployment rate go up a little bit more and probably S&P 500 drop a little bit. Because then we can actually, like, because if we look at like S&P 500 right now, it's roughly where it was in January.
Mhm.
And so that means that the economy is not doing bad. And so I think the economy will have to do bad for Jerome Powell to lower interest rates or start the money printer or something.
Mhm.
Because he doesn't like Trump, and so I think he's going to
Mhm.
push it out as far as he can just to piss Trump off. And like again, my opinion, but that's so I think that he needs to see some hard facts before he's going to go ahead and do that.
Mr. Too Late. I want to get a shirt that says Mr. Too Late and just wear that
Well,
around and just see if
hey,
people react to that.
I think at the end of the day, though, like it's just giving us time to stock up. Like we've been what stacking for months now. Like it's been a good buying opportunity. I think we'll be sitting pretty good next year. Like we'll want to buy more Misty, and then we'll be like, it's not worth it anymore. It's too expensive. Let's just collect dividends.
Yeah.
Like
Um,
that's my thought, I guess. We'll see. We'll see if that prediction comes true. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that's our prediction for Coney and our little talks. Hope we didn't bore you guys. Hope you're getting tons of value from this. But that's it for me. I'm going to say goodbye, and I'm going to let you guys say goodbye as well. I'm out.
all right, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. See you on the next week.
Cha-ching.